Greetings, mortals. I am Natus. The end of the week is here, so it's time that we discuss some chapters. So yeah, this week has been actually kind of slow on chapter releases. Now, I'm not certain this is because of some kind of break that the manga companies had, or if this is just a standard thing. Since I cannot remember to myself what last year's manga releases were, or chapter releases were, but regardless, it hasn't been really much, but luckily we had at least 5 chapters to discuss, and even that one is more like, I mean, if you're behind on behind on chapters in terms of like translation, is it really chapter releases if they get translated basically like months, well, a month, well, in one case a month back, and the other case being like probably months back? Like, just saying, I don't think Shy chapter 128 is quite close to being one of the newest. Honestly, I'm not even certain if it's like 100 chapters behind. But regardless, it's time we talk about the chapter this week. So we'll start off with Shy chapter 128, titled Phantom Pain. And in case you're wondering what this is referring to, what it's referring to becomes really obvious when we start this chapter off with Pale set on a wheelchair looking up in the mountains, making it very clear this is gonna be we're gonna have a couple of chapters focusing on Pilse and her backstory, which makes sense since, we've kind of been building it up towards it with Pilse, being under the effect of the Neverland and her father and, the general role she played so far, so it's not really surprising. But before we get into the backstory, we have her being with her father on a train, and Stigma with her being like, wait a minute, we were in the middle of a theme park. Why are we now on a train? And when did our food arrive? Because her brainwashing is slowly getting undone. So she's kind of noticing how weird this scenario is, because it's easy to ignore when you're kind of going along with everything. Like, you don't notice the inconsistencies, but then you start to be like, wait a minute, what exactly is going on here? It's kind of like the whole children's thing. It's like Navarre didn't really care much for just there being a bunch of children running around behind him until one guy pointed out that there's like no adults whatsoever, and then was like, wait, something's wrong here. So yeah. No, so yeah, now Pierce is kind of getting back to her senses, and as she does, Stigma arrives, being the conductor to inspect the tickets. Which is kind of funny, since Stigma looks like a child, even is younger than he actually is supposed to be. But it's kind of, he's kind of cosplaying as the conductor there with a cap and everything. But regardless, Pilseg regains enough of her memory to know that Stigma is her enemy, and that she needs to stop him. So she wants to go against him and transform, and that's the whole, transformation thing, but she doesn't have her bracelets on. And she's like, wait, where are my bracelets? As Stigma informs her that she threw them away, which I think it's more like symbolic throwing away, because, I don't think she's, actively good. I don't think the character people or adults more likely just actively take their stuff and throw them in a dumpster somewhere. It's more that when they get reduced to children, their adult stuff just teleports away. But because let's be honest, if they were a bunch of children, they would probably have a lot of outfit issues. But regardless, Pilsen notices that, and while she's being confronted by Stigma, there's one little important thing about Stigma also explains a little bit about the whole reducing to child thing. He also explains more your memories are back, the more and more your senses come to, the more and more you return to your normal self. And a little important thing to remember about Pilse is that she does not have her legs, so her returning to her normal self from 8 years old means no legs. So she falls down, and she's like, my legs, and she's kind of starting to be in pain over them. as uh, Stigma kind of, he doesn't mockingly says, "Oh, look at that, you have no legs now. You really should stay like a child, stay like you were." Because, like, she doesn't. But he's kind of like pointing out the little thing about how she would probably want to escape the reality, the painful reality, and that you should prefer to go back into the past. Like how a lot of the characters have been talking about this. You would want to go into a things used to be than the things are right now, which causes Pilsa a lot of despair, especially since her father, which is, let's be honest, so mostly just Sigma's power, has her father local unconscious, which is supposed to again scare and traumatize her, because while she is regaining stuff, her memories and all things slowly, it's not exactly quick. It's not exactly helping her from her feelings, and now she's watching her father, who we learn is that. Uh, we learn he was that. Still again, be looking like he's in danger of dying. So Pills just crawls to him because again she can't do anything else, with again being restricted. So yeah, Stigma is now gonna try to break her mind and everything to I guess have her join Amaya Rimu or something like that. Or because he seems to be like kind of putting her in that kind of mindset. I'm kind of guessing he wants to he needs more Amara Rimu members because Stigma doesn't seem to have a desire to kill his subordinates as much as just punish them for going against him or stuff like that, because it's gonna be out very clear in the future with Kufufu's story, but right now he seems to just gotta be interested in increasing his numbers or members or whatever you want to call it, because there's some missing spots, but there's no necessity how many of them there are, regardless. He sends her back into the past, which is actually funny enough the cover in the in the next chapter, I believe, or maybe is it this chapter? Well, I think it's actually this chapter. Is her Stigma opening Pils's book and reading it, so it's kind of funny how in this version where how she enters is like being thrown down into a storybook, as he's having her I I don't know what you call. I guess shoes and I think they're more boots and stockings in his arms around her. So yeah, we time travel into Pils's past where she still had both her legs, and she went on a mountain hike with her father as they were moving upwards on the mountain. With Pilsa getting tired halfway through and being too exhausted to continue, so her father needs to carry her down. And it's kind of supposed to contrast how she was when she was a child, how she's now. Because remember, Pilsa is really into mountain hikes. Like when she visited a child to make sure that her recovery was good, was doing great. She just helped one of Shai's, I guess, friends. I mean, she's an old lady, so I'm not entirely sure if I would call her friend as much as just an acquaintance, but because she helped her with her back pain, and then she was told about the mountain. She immediately got excited and wanted to go into a mountain hike herself. So it's kind of supposed to be a contrast between how she was a child and how she was as an adult. But regardless, they go on this mountain hike, and as a child, she was kind of question why they always go on a mountain hike because they're boring, and it's just she gets tired and all that. As far as that, as he gives them good advice, which is kind of supposed to be a similar thing as mailing the last chapter about what they need to do to help themselves to relieve stress and all that. Which I get what the father is going for, and I get what the writer is going for with this, but I do feel like I want to point out that Bill's situation is a little it's not just the problem isn't just so much mountain hikes, it's more how that seems to be kind of thing they always do when they're together, and consider the limitation, it's kind of a weird thing to do constantly, especially on your limited amount of time together. But regardless, the father explains to her this, and she doesn't really listen or understand what he means, and just just a normal kind of hike. And they go, and he goes home, and he carries her home and all that. There isn't really much thing else to say. As then we got to Pilse, her house. As we see, it's actually a very big house. It's like a mansion. So Pilse is quite rich herself. Makes it kind of. I guess I never was actually say how rich or what kind of lifestyle Pilse has right now. No, outside of the fact that she's uh, I think a college student. I know she goes to a medical school, but I'm not entirely certain if she's supposed to be taken as older than Shy or the same age as Shy. Because Shy is, I believe, 14, so I think Bills is supposed to be taken as older. But regardless, she comes from mom basically, and when she is kind of doing a little like facial expression jokes as a child, one of the servants is there kind of cleaning the whole thing, and she's kind of talking with that servant. You can kind of tell that servant's like the one that she's always been around with. As Bill, as the servant questions, she's a flower on the table and questions if she should put that flower with the rest of the flowers because she's like moving a vase. As Pilsen tells her, "Oh no, that one is for mother. I took it from the mountain. Mountain. I saw it in a mountain if I would look nice." And as you might have expected, her mother appears right away as soon as that is mentioned, because manga. As Pilsen notices her mother and grabs the flower and goes to her and wants to give her the flower. Being a cute child and all. And then we have the most predictable slap of the century with her mother immediately slapping her because, let's be honest ourselves, these flashbacks will always include some kind of abusive parent. As the mother reprimands her for calling her father because Bill said contacted her father, I think a day or two ago or some time ago, to ask him to go to a theme park with her, to an amusement park with her, but but her father was busy, so he couldn't go, and mother is now angry at her, saying that she's useless and how this is how he's just getting his ways because he works in a hospital. I think she also works in a hospital, but I'm blanking on the what the Ross showed. But regardless, they both work in a hospital, so the reason why they're so rich is because they are, take a very good paying job, and the father is like 24/7 is majority of his time in in a uh, in his medical office or in a hospital doing stuff, which I do understand. Which again, kind of is the reason why I'm kind of questioning if going on a regular hikes is really the best idea. If he's as limited when it comes to his spending time with his daughter as he seems to be shown here, because like I mean, I get it. Maybe the idea of hikes is more for his well-being, so he can have more time spending with her. It's just, it seems like to be implied that Pilse, and that's kind of thing her father always does when he's around, always go on a hike. And, you kind of think you would go on amusement parks at least once a while, like 2 times go to a hike, then the third time go into amusement park, 2 times go into a hike, and once go on an amusement park. Like, I feel like there is more than just, I feel like I get it. It's supposed to help himself because he's probably very stressed and doing everything for a child. It's probably gotta be a little difficult, but at least it might be work better if you at least decide to help her. Go to places she wants at least on the days when you're free a few times, but regardless. Less of that debate on if hikes would really be the best things to take every time you go with your daughter when she barely sees you. Regardless of all that this debate, we have to focus back on the mother, who is now again just being an abusive B word because like the lady is literally super upset about everything. Like, how dare you contact your finance to go into a theme park with him? Because he's very business important and she's using and again like Pilse is I want to say 8 years old here, 6, 7. 7 years old. Why are you being such a to your daughter? Like you should be have been taken away. And then I get questions. Raises a question on exactly how can such a horrible parent possibly get on with someone who's so nice like Bill's father, which. Considering the fact that apparently Pierce's father is away from the house, it's possible that she herself also is kind of being affected by it in a negative way because like she never sees them or anything, like she doesn't see the man she loves, so maybe she's a bit pissed off. Like all she really seems to have is a couple of maids and Pilce, and Pilce wants to be with her father because she never sees him or very few times sees him, and the one time that she does see him, has to go on trips that she doesn't like. It could also be a similar thing where the father just always, whenever had time off, just sort of he did the right thing for his well-being, but he might have forgotten. My wife, I barely see. Maybe I should go on trips that she would like. My daughter, probably I should go on trips that she likes. I understand it's probably supposed to be for his health. It's to help his soul. It's supposed to calm him. But dude, at least dude, you can go once on a different trip, even if it's not as effective as a hike. So, regardless, again, this is a speculation on my part about the reason why the mother is so abusive here, but because it's kind of again a weird thing that she would be so abusive for no reason, but still we have to wait and see on to get more details on exactly why there's such a big an issue with their behavior and all that. Why the mom had such a horrible attitude about it and all that. I mean, this is literally the first chapter of the flashback. But yeah, regardless, then the mother tells her to clean the flower that she wanted to give her. Not the pills they wanted to give her, saying that she should do at least this much because she has a maid for stuff like this. But in this case, it's like you have to clean it yourself, as Pilce cleans it herself, and she's very clearly sad because this was a gift to her, not supposed to have been destroyed. So yeah, like it'd be one thing if her mother just took the flower, appreciate, but then told her, "Oh, by the way, I got in contact with theme parks, and can you please don't do that anymore? I get that you want to be with him, but he's busy. It would be best if he doesn't feel guilty about going to. It would be best if we don't make him feel guilty about not going to theme parks with you. If you get my drift, if you understand me. So it's kind of weird that we don't. Or it's kind of feel very bitch behavior from Bill's mother the whole time, but whatever. We have to get a bit more explanation of their relationship a bit later, and we do get more of that. So yeah. Anyways, after Shy, we didn't have 100 girlfriends because peakness is the only thing that matters really. Which is chapter 186, titled Orca High Shadow Bancho. Which Bancho I think is just a term used to describe someone. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be someone of importance or if it's a straight up name to address the guy who's in charge of a delinquent gang in Japan, but whatever. Yeah, because we started chapter off with Rento, as Rento goes is going home to prepare himself for Godzilla attack somehow. Doing a bucket, I guess. Again, I mean, he does that sometimes. Apparently, whenever he has time to himself, when the girlfriends are all, I don't know what they're doing. All, yeah, he seems to be doing a bucket thing with training against enemies. But regardless, he goes there. But then, as it always happens when he's all alone, a girl appears and gets his attention as she calls out to him, and he looks back at her, and they get a zing as they look at each other a bit awkwardly for a couple seconds. As then this girl takes back to the back of the school as she introduces herself as Tomagari Saki, who is a shadow bancho of the school, and she heard of his Rentaro family gang and wants him to stop because he's expanding the members, and that's a no-go for the shadow bancho. as Rentaro first wants to correct her, no, we're not a gang. I mean, you guys can be considered a cult. You guys could be considered a criminal organization. You guys can be pretty much considered everything. So a gang isn't that crazy of a consideration, Rentaro. But anyways, Rentaro then realizes because like for some reason in this chapter he's a lot more like thinking to himself in his head like, what is this girl talking about? Oh, at least wait, what? Like there's a lot more internal monologue I would say this chapter because he realizes that he doesn't even know who the surface level Bancho is. So because like like there's a like in Naruto there's a Hokage, but then there's like a shadow Hokage. So in this here he's like, wait, should there also be a Bancho? But I don't even know who that one is. As he asks Saki who the surface level Bancho is, and she tells him that she has no idea herself. Like she's just like kind of casual about like, I don't know. And then there's like kind of questioning that, and then she's kind of thinking about it for a second. Wait, no, I think I know. And then she kind of goes, names a few characters, or she kind of describes a few characters. I'm unclear on who is the first one who she's describing because she mentions like a third year big buff chick and SOB, and chick, she might be the surface of Bancho, but she's not entirely certain because, I mean, even we are not certain who that is. Is that supposed to be just a misunderstanding of what Aname is? Or is that supposed to be that Gorilla Syndicate gang member? Is she referring to them? One of those two? We don't know. She just said a third year that's big and muscular, and SOB. So, yeah. Then she also mentions, like, I guess maybe the Candle Club captain member would probably fit that description as well. As I just like, what does Kishika have to do with this? Well, because she might be a Bancho. And then she also mentions like, oh, there's also that rumored tsundere chick that can break walls. She might be a surface of a bunch as well. So, two of the three of them, and possibly all three of them, are the surface of a Bancho. So, oh, it's gonna be a meeting. I mean, it's not the first time when we have like characters mentioning some of their classmates. Like Ishika herself actually did mention Kusuri when she was introduced. So you kind of expect them to at least know of each other at this point, considering how much of a attention a lot of these characters go. And Zetsu as well, like Kiki as well, had remembered knew Zetsu from her class. And Kurumi, we saw Kurumi reacted to Momoji because they were in the same class, so again, some of these things at this point, I feel like we can at least expect one of the girlfriends to recognize someone in Rento's family. So it's not surprised that she mentions a few of them, which does now make me kind of wonder if there's gonna be like if she's gonna like have like a chapter where she's gonna have like a buncho gangster yakuza competition thing in the school, and with Karane and Kishika, especially Karane because Karane was technically, in a weird way, a member of a gang with whole gorilla syndicate thing. So yeah, as then Rento, after he realizes those girls and he doesn't mention about them, he then wonders why she's the shadow bancho, and the big reason why she's the shadow bancho is just she's the oldest in the school. Because he first thinks she's like, is she the strongest? Is she the smartest? What exactly is it? But no, it's just because she's the oldest. And then Rento asks, how is she the oldest? Wouldn't she be the same age as everyone else in her grade? As then Saki explains that the reason she's the oldest is because she missed enough days in school, so she's repeating a year. Yeah, basically she's the oldest just because of default, which now makes me kind of wonder if she may also be the of Eri, because like Eri is 19 and Saki would also have to be 19. Although I would not be surprised if her actual birthday date is also like one of those things where it's like, yeah, I guess you're gonna be the oldest, but everyone else is gonna have their birthdays before you. So you're 19 now, but in a couple of months everyone else is gonna be 19, and then you're just gonna be 20 in a few. Again, I would not be surprised if it's like a similar thing with Ari, where her birthday is kind of similar. No, actually, no. Eri is 20. Is wait, Eri will be 20 in a couple of months. So actually, that still makes sense. Like I would not be surprised if it's like another one of those things where, like, I would not be surprised if she and Eri will both have very late birthdays. So yeah, she's 19, but pretty soon everyone else is gonna be 19 as well. When were Kusuri and Kusuri and Kishika's birthdays again? I'll check that later. But regardless, she's not. Well, the debate on the joke about her actual birthday date is a later thing. But regardless, she's currently very proud of the fact that she skipped school enough time so she could go into a different. That she could be the oldest in the school. Which, again, I do have to question it, if that's the reason why she failed her grade. The fact that she failed at so many sick days, because even like the things that she does when she is sick is like she drank too much milk, so now she has a stomach ache. She went to this on a winter out without the jacket, just her usual attire, which I guess I forgot to describe her appearance. She has like the generic, kind of stereotypical Yakuza appearance, but well, she's also a legal lolly by that extent, with long red spiky hair, kind of snake eyes, and she kind of just wears like, I'm not sure what those clothes are called. You know, the ones that like they. I don't want to call. Okay, I don't want to know if they're called like sports bras or sports or something, or short or small shirts or whatever they're called, because she only basic because it like doesn't go below her belly button. It also just kind of goes below her chest area. And I think it doesn't. I don't think she even has sleeves. I think it's kind of sleeveless. So that kind of outfit. So again, I think it's supposed to be a sports bra or something like that. But regardless, she has the Yakuza jacket that has like something it has like a written behind it in kanji, something like respect the seniors are the hierarchy on the highest ranks or something like that. But anyways, Renta is kind of question thinking that she doesn't really think much. And to be fair, in this chapter, I do have to question if we're meant to take her more as an idiot or if she's just academically gifted kind of individual, because like her plan makes it sound like she could pass a grade, but the way the chapter kind of makes her seem like an idiot makes me question which one was it. And honestly, if she is an idiot, I would not be surprised if she did fail the grades. It's just she thinks that the reason why she failed the grade was because of having sick days. Which, to be fair, doesn't really matter anymore, because Rento family is basically gonna be, well, Hahahi will basically be able to get her to pass any grade anyway, so it doesn't really matter at this point. At least mother wouldn't be pissed, but whatever. So I'm guessing that the whole skipping days was meant more as a way for her to fail grades, so her mother wouldn't be too pissed off at her. Although I feel like she would still be pissed off at her for being sick for so many days for very stupid reasons. So yeah. Then which Rento just reacts to this being completely like dumbfounded by this idea, because this girl's basically acting so smug because skipped great day because she skipped so many days of school that she couldn't graduate. So he's just wondering like what the hell is going on with this one. Anyways, she still wants them to stop the gang, and then Rento calls to Saki senpai as that at first makes it look like she's very pissed off at that comment, but then Rento notices that she's actually really happy and very smug, like, yes, call me your senpai, praise your senpai. So yeah, she's very happy, and she's like, you know what, I like you, you're a cool kohai. And then she even like calls Rento, I think it's Rento Sean, Renta Kohan Chan or something. Like it's putting like double in horrific and a term that's not even supposed to be used to describe a person. Well, it describes a person, but it's not meant to be like in a name setting. It's more what they are what they are to each other, a senpai and a kohai. So anyway, she then invites them to go to her usual haunt, which is just a candy store called her usual haunt, to go buy some snacks, and then she goes there with him, and then when she's there, there's also like a couple of kids there, which those kids are apparently also regulars in that store because he calls her because she calls them her gang, which is just a bunch of which isn't really intimidating. Like she has like just it's her, and then you have like a bunch of kids who just say, "Yay, we are gang! Yay, Saki senpai, so nice! Yay!" Again, like this is a 19-year-old just talking with a bunch of I want to say 5 to 8 year olds, honestly. Which one of the kids is actually that you can kill me girl. That we actually this is her third appearance. The one that may that tripped and uh, that I think she tripped and then the May used the handkerchief she bought for her high to clean her knees because she got hurt. And then another, and she said you can kill her because she ruined the handkerchief. And then the other time where she was driving a car in like a weird like stuffed animal um, control area where she was using her hair, and then she ran into Rad, and she broke Ran's doll by taking its arm off, and then she said you can kill her. So we have her here again, so you can imagine what she's gonna say in this chapter. Which I do hope this girl has an older sister so she could join Rento's family. Because, like, I don't know, I feel like it would be kind of fun if they had like another character who would try to kill herself for over every single mistake. I mean, I know that's kind of like May's thing already, but, we have similar tropes with the girlfriend, so it does make sense we have another one that's like that. So yeah, she's there, and then Rento just finds the whole group kind of cute because Saki is a lolly, and you have her own kids, so it's kind of like a double thing where like they're pretending, like yeah, let's pretend we are gang. So it's kind of like a big sister playing with her siblings or her siblings' friends and all, but whatever, it's a double side as Saki buys him some candy because it's her job as the senpai, and they're kind of having fun together until like two boys start arguing over something like which one's gonna take some candy or not. So they start fighting each other, and then Saki wants to get between them and says she'll get her hands dirty. And when you have this kind of setup, the payoff is obviously gonna be Saki becoming Suzuka rival with her being beaten by a bunch of children. Like she's on her ground, her hat down, about to start crying, being like, I'm beaten. As the children are a bit arguing, like she's like, oh my god, she's gonna cry. You two are horrible, and you can kill me, girl. Be like, I'm sorry, you can kill me, even though she didn't even do anything. So yeah, Saki got beaten by children. Literal 5-year-olds. I mean, granted, there probably is gonna be some argument. Maybe she didn't want to hurt them by considering that one of the girlfriends is so light that fucking wind can blow her away. It's way more likely that she would actually be beaten by 8-year-olds. So, actually, no. Wait, because is 8-year-olds. These characters all look younger than 8-year-olds. So it's probably more fair to say that they are 4-year-olds or something like that. Literal 4-year-olds beat her. Oh, their battle will be legendary, I can tell you. How would the battle between these two go at, if we're being totally honest with ourselves? Would like wind blow them and they would all be fluttering the wind, needing them to be rescued? Or would they like go to punch each other and knock each other out before? No, they would just touch each other, not even like a punch, and fall to the ground crying or something. Well, it doesn't really matter how these two are gonna how these two are gonna defeat each other. Well, I guess they could defeat Era, but that's Era issue, not them issue. So actually, they won't even be able to beat Era because essentially they won't be able to hurt Era. Because their punches would be nothing. So yeah, anyways, Rento notices the panic in the situation, and he just grabs Saki, puts her on his back, and tells the kids, "Oh, sorry kids, as a kohai, I have to carry Saki away. We have our work to do. Anyways, be safe kids, and bye-bye," as he runs away with Saki we start having the as nighttime is approaching. So yeah. Anyways, as she's being carried by Rentaro, she sort of opens up about her insecurities, explaining to us that the reason why she's kind of like tries to be Shadow Bancho and trying to be like the big fish big fish kind of in the school, all that is because everyone always looked down on her because she's small. Like the author I think released like a sketch about her size to get the idea, and I think it was shown that like I'm blanking on it. He used Era and Kusuri as the two size models, and he showed that even with the a bit bigger shoes, she's about the same size as Kusuri. Like she would like those shoes that have like a lot of like space between them and the ground, like high heel, not high heels, but those like elevated shoes. And she's like, either she's as big with those as she is as Kusuri, or she's as big with those as Eri. I think it's Eri because I think the exercise is more akin to Kusuri. So the girl is small. Like this girl is naturally the same size as an 8-year-old, which shouldn't be very surprising considering Tama exists, and that woman is honestly, I feel like Tama is the smallest girlfriend in the series. Like I'm not entirely certain there is an arc with showing us Tama's size, but I'm pretty sure that Tama is supposed to be the smallest girl in the harem. So yeah, this girl is probably also going to be in that debate in terms of size. So yeah, and then we have this girl I want kind of going tsundere, but not really. Where it's more a pride thing, where she doesn't want to admit that she was about to cry and all that fully. But Renta understands, like he understands why she would be a bit insecure about that, and you can probably guess based on how she was acting. But regardless, then she goes into a confident speech, like she wasn't just admitting that she's feeling insecure about being tiny. So she says that, you know what? I bet that you would be happy about dating a senpai as cool as I am. So I will let you date me as Renta's like, I guess that's one way to ask me out to start dating, but whatever. As Rentaru and Saki now start dating, and yeah, and I'm certain they're still gonna have a lot of wholesome adventures together with the rest of the girlfriends. So, although I can always see a lot of like interactions between the girlfriends, like her and Kishika and Kurane, because being those two might be the surface level bunchos according to her. Suzuko, obvious one because of the size and being so fucking weak that you can't even beat children. Like I get not wanting to punch them because of children, but still being beaten by them really. And then there's probably gonna be some other interactions. Like I think no, I don't think she would be with Zatsu. I think she would be with the next girlfriend. But we have to wait and see what the next girlfriend's gonna be because Alpha usually gives like people who are on the same cover a bit of a moment together. So I would totally not be surprised if the next girlfriend is going to have a connection with her as well. So we have to wait and see how the thing is gonna go. So for the next chapter, although unfortunately for 100 girlfriends, there's gonna be there's gonna be no chapter, so there's gonna be a bit of a break before 100 girlfriends chapters, unless if the next chapter gets translated relatively quickly. But yeah, anyways, that's it for 100 Girlfriends. So next we move to Chain Soldier, chapter 137, titled Towards Shangri-La More. Which I do find the chapter funny because this makes it sound like even the author is kind of getting sick of Shangri-La Fall. Like, we had a couple of chapters with them training. Then we had two decently long chapters with them fighting against the gods of thunder, and then we had a few chapters where we went away from that, only to come back to Shangri-La Fall, and now we'll possibly, and now who knows how long this arc is gonna be. Like, there's like one of those weird arcs where you don't think it's gonna be very long, but it could balloon all that it entirely depends what the author wants to do with it, how long he intends. But it's just kind of funny to think that even the author might be getting sick of Shangri-La Fa at this point. So yeah. Anyways, we start this chapter off with Kyoka, Yuki, and Himari going to Shangri-La Fa as the Gina, who I think has finally reappeared, tell them that the expansion has been complete and all that. As they get ready, and Himari is actually a bit surprised that she was invited as well, which honestly I'm more surprised the fact that she wasn't already invited, because I kind of assumed vice captains were going to be always there, because the way they were always gonna be there. But I guess not, because they're like the only vice captains that seem they're gonna be there is Himari, because it was specially ordered by Ran, which I don't know if I would really be happy. Which does make me kind of wonder about this, especially considering the Tanka red flags in the room and the old lady from Squad 1, who is, more of an advisor role, which is going to be finally explain how the election works. So yeah, Kyoka goes there, and they're all kind of really dedicated to, achieve Kyoka's victory, because this is like what Kyoka always wanted, so they'll finally have this opportunity to succeed. As then we cut to Squad 7 Barracks, as we see that Haruna Q, the one of the members of Squad 7 that was, I want to say she was previously a man, because by the sounds of it, it seemed like she was always a man, just that she was put on a different team because of the whole. She was on a team when Kyoka joined, but then because of the previous chief, she went to or at least the previous chief made her want to go to a different squad, so she went to those squads that retrieve made to Peaches. So she is now back here. She was ordered to come to Squad 7 to be in charge of the group. Most likely because Himari left, and you have. I guess the other squads have like the vice captains, and they keep their members. But in this instance, Q was summoned to go handle that. Basically, I wonder who's chosen for Squad 1 a bit, but honestly, consider the fact I don't think we have seen anyone from Squad 1 except the captain, the old lady, and one classmate. I will not be surprised if Squad 1 just is currently if someone who's the nearest from from unit, well, actually, every the unit 1 is just taking over the place, or maybe like unit 1 just went with the closest unit to there, and it's not gonna be like increasing their numbers or something. I don't really know, but regardless, they are there. And so when it's back, it's like a little bit of a welcome back party with it, like not much. It's just like, yeah, we're happy that we are back here. As then she's kind of like worried about the election and all that, as Haruna finally explains to us in detail, because like it was a bit of a debate on how exactly chiefs can get, because it's not very clear if who votes, who has the voting right, or is it like a strength basis? Like is this like a tournament or something? But no, Q explains to us that the the vote for the next chief is between 11 people, nine of the current chiefs and two from the military branches, I think, in the government. So it comes down to 11 votes with some people. I think we see two advisors and three people as like the ones to make sure the votes are fine, which is kind of fun. They need three people to make sure there's like no cheating when there's only like 11 people to handle. But again, like abilities, maybe trickery and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if like there's gonna be a joke with Azu doing something to cheat or whatever. But regardless, that's basically how it breaks down. So yeah, again, I'm kind of surprised with how few it is, because I kind of thought it was gonna be a bit of a bigger number. But I suppose it does make. I mean, they don't clarify if the Chiefs can vote for themselves or not. But basically, Shushu is a bit like panicky, because oh no, this is gonna be so difficult for Kyoka. But I'm like, okay, I get the two military branches are definitely gonna vote for Ran. She plays the field good enough to a point they would want her to be in charge. Bell, despite everything that Kyoko did to her, is still Ren's best friend and the one that who definitely want to like Ren the most. So I could see her vote. And if we assume that they can vote for themselves, Ren would vote for herself. But then we get to Kyoka's votes, and in that pool, I'm like, I mean, Kyoka will vote for herself, the same if Ren can vote for herself as well. But I couldn't also imagine them. Okay, let's go for the idea that Chiefs can vote for themselves. Kyoka can vote for herself, and Ren can vote for herself. Then you have Tanka and Varvera who are gonna both vote for Kyoka. I don't see why the little girl would vote for anyone except Kyoka, because I feel like even she herself would probably say that she's not ready. I mean, even when the Chiefs were initially introduced, the old lady said that she has potential to be commander in chief. So I don't really see why she would try to be that right now. Which is a tie, which leaves Fubuki, Mira, I think was the second Chiefs, and Azu for the deciding votes, and even in all three of them, just wanted to be Chiefs as well. So I don't really see where. So if anything, it's got to be a tie, which unless if it's a tiebreaker, it's like a fight between the captains. It it is kind of weird. It wouldn't really make much sense for the two of them to be that worried about. Just convince Fubuki, and assuming that you are not allowed to vote for yourself, I feel like it's even makes less sense why you'd be worried, because we got that. I mean, yes, three votes still stay with Ran, but Ran is not gonna be able to vote for her, and the next best person I think Ran would probably vote would be Fubuki, or just not voted in general because she thinks she's the only one, whichever one you want to pick. But Kyoka would still get Tenka and Vavara's votes, and again, I still don't think why the squad chief one would vote for anyone but Kyoka. But without her, I feel like Fubuka would vote for Kyoka. I mean, it was kind of hit that in the couple of chapters with the whole training with all this daughter of the Azuma family. And Mira, I feel like would kind of go. It's kind of 50-50 with Mira, but I could see her more voting for Kyoka because she acknowledges Ren's problems. Like, they got along, but even she can admit, okay, Ren, you're a bit too much sometimes. And as is just a wild card, I think she'll just vote for the woman with the biggest boobs to maybe get her way. If she could get space to squeeze in. If you get my drift. So yeah, I don't really understand why there be that big of a concern, but I guess there is some argument you can make that why Ryan. I guess it's because Ryan has pretty solid free votes, while Kyoka doesn't really have the most solid free votes. But regardless, they head off to the Shangri-La Fargan to get for the election. And then we cut to the Eight Gods of Thunder, as I was kind of predicting we would this chapter because remember this was like a little bit of an extra long break between chapters. And the information was like on a cover with Naohime saying there's gonna be an extra break, and I feel like Naohime hasn't really got much screen time, and you'd think that she would get at least some screen time, especially with the new plan, especially considering the fact that she's on an umbrella team, so it's kind of like she wouldn't really want to participate in it that on this kind of trickery type of ability. Which honestly, I feel like it is actually a good question to have. Like, if let's say if the Thunder Gods just attack the Chiefs' bases themselves on the ones that they are not that certain that they do not have a disadvantage against, would they just be able to wipe them out? Because like again, like a big thing about gods losing is the fact they are fighting opponents that counter their abilities, or they are going against opponents that they are severely depowered. So would they be able to just wipe them out if they carefully selected their opponents? So yeah. Anyways, Naohime goes to where Juryu and Shinoku are. Shinoku's kind of playing with her Shokai cards, as Naohime's like, hey, has the deal already went and has your negotiation already gone through? Which I'm kind of surprised that Naohime doesn't really object to have any kind of issues with the plan itself. She just, she's very impatient. And from what we learn, Taiko is also very impatient and she just wants to start slaughtering humans at this point, which is kind of fun because Taiko is the leader, with Shinoko being more the one that's sort of just, she's more the brains behind the operation. She's kind of like the Donatello of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, Leo is the leader, but Donatello is the brain, so it's kind of a weird little thing here, but regardless, Shinoko says the humans have so many people that have to give their consensus on the matter that it takes them a while to get anything really done. Make a joke about politics, obviously. So the reason why it's taking long is because they need to wait for them to do stuff, and yeah. But regardless, to Shinoko doesn't really that matter that much because if these negotiations don't go through, then I guess they're just gonna have to wait until the day of purification comes, and then they'll just go and slaughter them anyways. Like they can't really do. I mean, it's not. It's kind of simple. It's more of a alright. Let's. I mean, we can just wait it out about for the plan, but let's just wait out for the plan to go through. But if it's not gonna go through, then just wait for the data purification. Like they're not worried about it. It's kind of like the reason why I question if let's say Kyoko wins, would she really go against the plan? Because it's not like she can, you know, say they can take get them out other ways. Like I could even see this being a moment in the next in a couple of chapters where like Kyoko would make her stance on the position, but then someone's gonna point out, like one of the military politicians, be like, "All right, but what are they gonna do afterwards?" Like, from what you've told us and from what everything you provided us, sounds like you have no way of tracking them down, no way of finding them. There is no leads you can use to get to know their location, since they themselves stated that they will never tell humans who their exact basis. And I think Shonoko even stated in that chapter where she met up with Ren that they have bases all over Vermeto. So what exactly is your plan to get them out? So it does kind of make so it does make kind of wonder what Hime will do in that instance. Well, what Kyoka is gonna do in that with that statement, since you kind of have to, you can't really draw them out in any way except for this negotiation. Even in these negotiations, it seems like only Shinoko is gonna be intending them, which maybe that's gonna be like a thing. Like maybe the plan is gonna be like force them all out, and then when they're all like in those like negotiations meeting room, Kyoka is then gonna come to attack, but then they're gonna escape or something. I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see how things are gonna unfold. But regardless, Kyoka, but regardless, Shinoko and Kyoka explains the whole situation to Nohime and then just leaves. Which maybe you could say this is a hint that maybe Shinoko is also gonna participate in the election as a like voice, like not vote, but like she will explain things in more detail, because I don't really see why she would need to leave unless if she would go to Taikyo to explain the plan to help calm her down, because Taikyo does seem to be the most bloodthirsty member amongst the eight gods of thunder, considering her reaction to Kusetsu losing, the three gods thoughts when what their next movement was gonna be after their defeat, about Taikyo just going on a rampage and slaughter everyone. And here with Nahime saying that Taiko is the one who's just willing to go into slaughter humans. So yeah, as Shinoko leaves, that leaves Nahime and Joy you there, which I do find fine. These two are like the only two characters who are well, naked amongst the characters, because usually you'd think there would be you don't really, because these are like the only two who wear like just bikinis and underwear and that stuff, while everyone else does still wear some form of professional uniform. Like, yeah, they're kind of ridiculous when you like look at the mini skirts and the whole thing what they do in action, but comparatively they make more sense in these two who are just showing everything off. But regardless, now he still doesn't like this plan. They should just go on Slaughterfest. But Jiryu tells her that humans defeated Ryan and Fukuma together, so clearly they can't be reckless about that. And she even kind of reprimands Nahime by telling her that because Nahime said maybe she should just go there herself and show her divineness, because Taiko refers to divineness as strength, basically when like when they were all shown for the first time, show them your divinity. And here, Hime refers to her strength as divinity. And your Jurune, it states that again that kind of recklessness is the problem here. And there's even like a little bit of joke about now human being very loud because when she says that, like, there's a bit of a questioning about, like, Joe says that they can't lose more members, but then now he screams, "You think that Taikyo can lose?" So, and Joe is like, "No, but we have to be careful." So Taikyo is very clearly the strongest, and from what we've seen of all the gods, like, remember these guys, because remember both Juryu and Ran saw a bit of Ran's power and do admit that she's stronger than she should be by normal human stats, and that this plan they're cooking is not even gonna be enough to kill her. But they do not think she's stronger than her, and the gods have more information about Ran's power, and they still do not put her above Taikyo. So, Taikyo versus Ran is definitely gonna be a match to see how it's gonna play out. But Naokimi is just saying her. I'm not certain that's supposed to imply that if Naokimi is the second strongest or not. I mean, granted, I think it's like a pretty easy thing to say that Taikyo, Naohime, Juryu, and Rairen are the four of the stronger ones, with the other ones being more powerful in their own right, but they are more trickster and more ability users than standard combatants. But it's kind of interesting how this might be kind of an implication that, like, she might be stronger than the second strongest. Or maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Like, again, it's kind of more of a joke. If anything, about like how despite them they have to be careful. They defeated two of us at the same time. We have to be cautious. But now He-Man just still says, then I should go myself. It's a joke. Not entirely certain there's like something special about now He-Man, because, like, now He-Man's kind of a weird one out amongst the little known of the gods right now. In terms of, like, we don't really know what angle the author is going for with her. But regardless, we have that interaction scene, and yeah, after that we just go back to Shangri-La Fa with Kyoka's group meeting up with Yoshino Okuwamura, who is Nei's great aunt, I think is what. I mean, there was a bit of confusion when the Ross were out if she was Nei's mother, but no, she's just a relative, because I think both Nell's parents disappeared. Watch how we are only going to see the mother show herself, and the father's not gonna be mentioned at all. Is he dead? Is he disappear? Like, what happened to him? We have no idea. But we are going to have to wait and see if we are actually going to address the father. Because, you know how we never even mention where they are? Like, it's not even like a thing where it's like they don't even matter. It's like, like we have the Zuma family tree, where the fathers, no idea. Not even a mention if it's like a sperm donor thing or if the fathers have already passed away. Varvara's parents both stayed to be gang in the mafia. We even see both of them, Charis and Love Varvara. But when it comes to them falling, we see the mother there. But the father is like, did he get captured as well? I guess he would have to be in prison as well. I mean, we don't really find out where he is at, but whatever. But whatever, we no mentioning whatsoever. So I do wonder if we're even going to get Nay's parent. That we might get them, but we have to wait and see. I mean, I don't even know how those two are gonna come into play at this point, honestly. But yeah, anyways, we then have Yoshino Okuwamaru thanking Kyoka and everyone for taking care of now, because now is like 12 years old, I believe. So she's very grateful, and she talks how they always, whenever they meet together, have dinner together, she talks about Yuki, how he's great and all, so she praises him, and he's thankful and all that. As then, Okura says that she is going to be an advisor, as well as Tubera is going to be an advisor as well, and I think there's like one other person who I think is like one of the politicians that we've seen sometimes, but whatever, those three are advised. I'm assuming those are gonna be like I kind of want to say those three are gonna be like the ones who are gonna be questioning and kind of leading the things that are gonna have to focus when it comes to electing a new chief kind of an idea, because it doesn't seem like they're gonna be voting for anything. But regardless, that's gonna be their role, advice about what actions they should be taking, all that. And then we get to the another one who's gonna be advised, and that is Wakaku Kinokuni, who is the old lady from the Unmo agency that we've seen multiple times, but we finally get her name. So she's like, kind of be playing the role now, fine, not just be just this vague antagonist in the background that no one really focuses on. So yeah, she's gonna be there. She doesn't talk or anything, but she's gonna be there, and I'm assuming that we're gonna get some insight pretty soon on her. Then alongside her, we get two politicians' names being Raiko Imabao, who I think is gonna be like the giant muscle mommy general kind of woman, and Iori Yamore, who I'm not sure what those two are gonna do. If those two are just gonna be like random characters whose names we know for, but regardless, these two are gonna be the two who are gonna be deciding the election, and we're gonna have to wait and see what they're gonna be doing. I do kind of wonder how they're gonna treat Yuki, because like the mana viewed lower, so I do wonder maybe they're gonna be insanely misandrous towards him of aspects, but regardless, we have to wait and see on those two. And then Kyoka looks at around her and she's like, "Okay, this is done. This is gonna decide a lot of things. It's gonna decide on my agency. This is gonna decide on how we should react to the Thunder Gods. This is gonna be a big thing, and I have to win this no matter what." So she has a determination to win. I'm not certain if if how this election gonna go off. Is something going to happen that's going to have it be cancelled and Ryan's gonna have to stay, because like this is like really early when it comes to like how the whole story, and usually these things are more wait until the end. Either that, or we're gonna be going for a little bit of a like calm before the storm type of thing. Like Kyoka is gonna have this victory as well, but then whatever her plan is gonna be is gonna be a big failure. Like again, my previous idea that maybe she's gonna required all five gods to be there, and then that's gonna be more that they can handle. Like I could see this, like Kyoka wins, Ran is angry, but things like, "Oh, you're gonna prove that your weakness, or you're gonna come begging me to help," and then they got all calm there. Then they'll all fight, but then Taiku's gonna beat Ran, and then like not only the Kyoka's leadership completely failed, but their strongest one also loses the fear, so they completely fail. Like maybe it's gonna be like that thing, but I think that might be a little too much to spare. But again, we have to wait and see exactly how much. Like the writer said, this is gonna be a lot light-hearted for a story, but then again, with how he's going to come and kill, it's not even like serious. There's like not even a judge of how serious things are gonna be. There's just general questions about like it's basically like a fairy tale question. Like how much of the villain's actually gonna win before they get loose to the protagonist kind of deal. But yeah, anyways, after that we have Yuki going into the spa room as he's like looking around to see how much he's gonna have to clean. As when he comes there, then Tenka teleports in as he tells Tenka that he left a sign outside saying that he was here in here, and Tenka says that she knows that that's why she came here. As then Yuki is putting his like cleaning cap off or root off, so he could thank her for everything she's done, because her own animal agency and Stanka is very confident now that they haven't suspected anything, because there's been no issue. I'm guessing she might have like greeted Wakaku and there was like nothing to suggest that she knows about Tanka breaking in, so they are safe. And after Yuki thanks Tanka, she loses herself as she starts undressing and be like she couldn't contain herself, like she had to keep her distance for now, but right now she's gonna go full out and use her to her full extent, and takes her clothes off, and we get the fancy shot of her being in her underwear, in very sexy underwear, as she's got pounds, and we're gonna have to wait and see if there's who's gonna interrupt this. Is it gonna be Azu or the little chief? Although I could also see Kyoko interrupting. Or who knows, maybe if Shinoko was invited as well, she might also be there. I mean, there's not much of like another advisor being there. I think it's like just actually, I think it was Wakaku's advisor, Fubuki's mother's advisor, and Nail's great aunt is the advisor. So there might be, and I think there's like another. No, I think the old lady and no, wait, no. I think the old lady from Squad One and two politicians are the ones who are supposed to make sure the election goes well smooth with Wakaku, uh, Ku and Tukberry and Nez Ange and being the advisor. So maybe Shinoku is also going to be advisor, but it is not mentioned like there's going to be one more advisor that we have to wait. Maybe it's going to be mentioned in the next chapter. Like I could always see this being a thing where like they mention in the beginning of the next chapter there's like one more advisor they have to wait for. That advisor is gonna come with Ran, but they don't have no idea who that one would be. Within Ran, the end of the chapter showing up with Shinoku and or something. I don't know, but we have to wait and see on that front. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the chapter. As then we move on to Chainsaw Man chapter 174. But aging as we go from one group of political meetings to another group of political meetings because we see a bunch of uh, fictional politicians are supposed to be representing the politicians in Japan's government. Which we I don't really feel like these guys really recording names. Like we do get some of their names, but it's like just empty because I don't really think they're gonna play a role or anything. Like these designs do just kind of look like stereotypical design you give your politicians. Like, like a lot of animes, it's gonna put like very similar looking characters as politicians. That's probably going to be with these guys, even though we do get names from them. So we have them all reacting to the whole ears being erased, as they say while the ears were erased and no one could remember, or barely anyone could remember that they used to have ears, there was no evidence that anyone knew what they were used for or anything. There were ears still in books and all, but nothing else. So it was like one of those things like some may remember ears, but most nothing. As then politicians turned to Fukuyume, I believe is the bitch from Public Safety Commission who was supposed to guard Denji and all that, but whatever. They ask her what does the Public Safety Division want with this, or Public Safety Commission want with this, and then Fukuyume explains that the reason why they want this is because the power that the Chainsaw Man's form has grants them the ability to erase concepts, dangerous, the erasure of them, so there would be like safety and security. Like if a foreign nation is, if the nations are in the brink of war, they'll be able to have the Chainsaw Devil eat the fear devil of that country, and then that country or the very least something about it is going to be erased, so there would be no more fear of that. So basically, what the Public Safety Commission wants is get the control of the devil, and then get their hands on the devil that's going to of a certain fear, then have Chainsaw Devil eat it, so it will stop existing. Sting and all that. Basically, like one of those like remove big threats into the world and all and that type of stuff. As then they explain what they want to do. Their first on the list is aging, as they have explained that the Public Safety Commission got in contact with the aging devil, who is the devil that we saw in the last chapter, the one that looked completely like mutilated and all that type of stuff. They got in contact with him, and then they found out that the aging devil doesn't really have a desire to live anymore, doesn't really care about him being alive or not. So they made a deal with him that for a price he will let himself be eaten by Chainsaw Devil and be erased out of existence. And with that, Fukuman also mentions that this one is that the aging devil is also a primordial fear, So with this, they will be able to erase one of the biggest fears in existence, being aging. And yeah, then they again go over the concept of the getting rid of this devil as like it's kind of difficult to really understand how exactly they mean by this like aging, erasing a devil, because because like yeah, ears disappeared, but anything else like did hearing also vanish? Did things that require you to listen to also vanish? As then we get from explain that's kind of well in any case aging. One of the character persons asks, all right, so if we remove this, if we kill, or let's say that we kill this, we have changed the devil, eat aging devil. What guarantee that means that we remove a lot of these things that we are scared of when it comes to old age, like dementia. I bet Americans know what I'm talking about with dementia, or or pain in your body, like stuff like that that you get affected by when it comes to your becoming older. As Fukuyama then explains that they actually don't really know what kind of facts were, because like a lot of things still remain, like like headphones and all that type of stuff still existed, and things like I think they use those things that are used to clean your ears. Those things still existed. It's just their concept was, or the purpose was believed to be for arts and crafts. So it's like it's unclear exactly how much, and there is did still seem to be the ability to hear stuff, or the way it is. I mean, there does seem like there was like less hearing, because I do believe we had Katana Man like screaming because he, I mean, in the comes like why didn't they respond while uh not while Yuru realized, wait a minute, something was missing because she had not realized there was no ears there and she couldn't hear anything. So it's kind of a hard thing to. So it's kind of a questionable thing. Like, can you, it's kind of like one of those things. Like, what is aging? Side effects of aging actually going to be erased as well? And she also says that she doesn't really know, which makes this deal kind of dumber when you really think about the fact you don't even know if you're gonna be able to remove things like aging fully. But yeah, anyways, after that, saying it's not very convincing that the consequences of aging is really gonna disappear. Statement from Fukuma. She didn't tell them what the deal is, and aging devil made a very, I guess, simple deal when you really think about it. Deal about him being eaten. All things considered, as Fukuma tells them that the aging devil, for exchange for his existence, is that he wants 10,000 children from infancy to 9 years old, all of which are Japanese citizens, must be put in front of mirrors and killed. So, yeah, I mean, he's a devil, but he knows how to make a deal. And yeah, this is, I guess, supposed to be like one of those like I want to say great debates, because it's like when you really think about it logistically, what benefit exactly do it's like, well, I mean, this has been a topic that's probably been talked before, and like, does it make sense to sacrifice the lives of the young to keep the old alive type of deal? So does it make sense for like for so many kids to die just so aging can stop? So just so old people would be able to live forever. I mean, in a short-term thought process, you could probably would say it makes sense. And to be fair, to be fair, aging novel did make it a little bit more limited, with them only to be Japanese citizens to achieve it. But it does kind of make some form of sense. But regardless, they're all kind of taken aback by this deal, because it's a very horrific deal, and more when you think about it, you really shouldn't do it, especially once you remember the fact, if you remove death, then you get to a problem with overpopulation, and then you get the problem with there's not enough food and resources. But people here just think about like their own lives kind of deal. In fact, the one that like says that they want this deal and agrees to this deal that Fukuma tells them is even like shown by being like basically the oldest basically the oldest character you could possibly make in shonen, with him being like in hunchbacked, very old, very weakly on a wheelchair with his eyes barely looking like they're even open. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised this guy is even there, or he was even able to come here and not be in a medical room. Like, that's honestly the only way you can make this guy look even older, if he was actually hooked up to an IV or something to keep him even being able to stand or anything. So he says they have the deal, and he explains how they're gonna achieve this. He says his son, or one of the people's sons, runs an orphanage who that has an increase of children due to all of these devils getting so more predominant and all that. Then he says that they should take the kids they get from foreigners and immigrants and have and give them immediately citizenship so they can quickly kill them. And yeah, he basically says a lot of this type of stuff. But then, like, one of them, he always says like one of them has to do something. I think he's the one who has that son who's working a field where he can provide them a lot of kids. But the guy doesn't want to do it because killing 10,000 children that are between infancy and 9 years old is horrific and awful and evil. But then the guy, showing again that he's a cold-blooded bastard, just says, "You have 4 children, right?" And then the guy doesn't respond. He just looks up at it because first he's like, I think, apologizing in kind of sense, like, "I'm sorry, but I cannot do this with a Finn." But then the guy again asks, "You have 4 children, right?" So the guy has to go along with his plans, but how much he doesn't want to, because they're very clearly offering his children as well. Because, like, previously you could at least make a case that they would keep their own children. And to be fair, previously they were trying to limit it to the children that are like, people will not be aware of the horror that happened to them. Outside those people who are already uncaring, or in the case of one guy being very, his arm being forced. But anyways, they basically used the kids that they could use, but now they're using the ones they, but now they're effectively using the kids that are, their own precious kids. So in this instance, they're kind of forced to pick between the ones that are actually are legal and, well, the ones that actually people care, well, they themselves care about, or kids that they, again, only using because no one would really know if there's something off. Because, like, if like a bunch of, unless if you're aware of the kids in an orphanage or know about the immigrant kids, you're not gonna really question if they're suddenly like disappearing, because you're not gonna be able to know. So in this instance, like, it's kind of like a safe way, so no one knows what kind of horror they've committed by doing this. But yeah, anyways, then we have Fukuyama again showing what kind of a piece of trash he is, and she just has like a smile with his coming to consensus, as Fukuyama just picks up her phone to contact it, as then we cut above her mouth and the old general guy, as then, like, there's no voice, and then Fukuyama is starting to sweat, and she puts her phone down as we see that she no longer has a mouth. Finally! Not the gag I was hoping for, but at least she's quiet. As then we cut to the rest of the politicians, as we see that they don't have mouths. So yeah, we cut to the end of the chapter with the final page with Chainsaw Man having the corpse of the octopus devil, as the narrator tells us, octopus, mouth, snow, and bitterness erased. So I guess that theory about all of the, well, the guys, the devil, the hybrids, the fiends, or whatever, about being the types of body parts, as was true. There really was a mouth fiend there, which, I mean, whose part was this? Like, why the heck would you? I mean, okay, ear is a bit questionable. Okay, you can debate when it comes to ears, like, would ear make a good sense to, like, be a good use as a demonstration, but really, ear, like, really, mouth? Why would you risk a mouth fiend? Like, if anything, a mouth fiend should be like the last one. He should be, that one should be like locked up in the bottom basement on a lock and key away from everything, not in the public. Like, what the heck would they even think about? Like, what could even a Malphite even do? I mean, Easy Fiend's a weird one as well, but like, what the heck would Malphite do? Was like a loud noise thing? Like, couldn't they have picked, I don't know, like, actually, where did bitterness come from? Like, who's the bitterness fiend? Or snow fiend? Or snow devil? Like, where did snow and bitterness come from, anyways? But regardless, the octopus fiend was eat, or the octopus devil was defeated. Moth was defeated. I'm not entirely certain if that public city guy is also been defeated or killed, but whatever. We didn't just have snow and bitterness out, so I'm not certain if maybe the mutilation devil will intervene or do something because he probably saw that the mouse disappeared since he does seem to have some form of way to know what's going on around the area. Whatever it is, I mean, it seems to be kind of implied that the devils from the Primordial can have some kind of knowledge of what's happening out in the outside world to a limited degree. Maybe just to their hosts or something, or the people they make contracts with. But regardless, I'm not asking who's gonna stop Chainsaw Devil, but they're going to have to stop him now because mouths are gone. So yeah, and then once the mouths are restored, we may have to suffer with the whole children thing. Although I could see this whole mouth disappearing might lead into an issue with maybe that's why I make them. No, we can't even risk having him erase. We can't even have him erase these fiends because otherwise, who knows what kind of fiends he's gonna erase next? Just focus on eliminating him or something. But yeah, that's the end of the chapter. We're gonna have to wait and see how things are gonna unfold a bit later or in the next chapter. And on to the last chapter of the week with Reincarnated Coliseum, chapter 221, titled Betrayal of Expectations. I mean, honestly, look at this chapter, it was kind of obvious in the direction they were going for, so it's not really the betrayal of expectations, but it's supposed to be an in-world reference on the outside world, because honestly, I feel like the betrayal part is very obvious when you look at it. But yeah, anyways, this is gonna be, we start this chapter off with a second round, so we are going from the whole inter interview inter interviews with breaks between. So we go into a combat with Mikami showing up and everyone cheering, me like, yeah, that weakest glider will win every battle. You can trust the guy for victory. And the Vector's little joke about him already being slapped, which is from Mal because of the way how the copy skill works. As then we have the announcement, who's actually a different announcer this time, being Momo-chan, which is a dark girl, because previously there's a cat girl, but now it's a dark girl. And some of them are kind of very happy about her because they like her, and they kind of compare her to the cat, but the cat, we have a little joke about her and the cat and the dog hating each other, so these two are kind of like rivals, but everyone else kind of likes this. So yeah, and then this Mikami goes there on the field. Maul shows up in a new outfit, which is kind of like this outfit is kind of a weird one because it's basically just her outfit with a bunch of like black cloth tied around her. Like it looks like how like some characters have some bandage, have some parts of their body like tied with some band-aids or something. Like this is basically just Maul's outfit, like a lot of like things tied around. Like I'm not even entirely certain how she put the outfit on. Like I mean, Maul's already very exposed when it comes to her outfit, but this one is just like completely like exposed entirely, just tied together. So yeah, Maul's there and excited to fight with Mikami to win this battle. As then we get a bit of a flashback into the preparations for this round. As we get an annoying panel where we tease a good BDSM moment with Suzu being shinobi tight and Tamal having a ball gag in her hand. If you're gonna have a ball gag, use it, woman! So, yeah, we get that as then Suzu is just like a bit nervous in this entire area. She's like, if we're gonna be training together, could you perhaps untie me? As then, Mikami tells her no, they don't trust her because she could very likely use one of her copies to go help Musashi, and they don't want this as because they don't really have a reason to trust Suzu. They probably found out about the whole. I don't know if they learned about the devil's stomach thing or they just assumed that devil's stomach was a thing. But regardless, they don't trust her, so she has to kind of be, just tied up in a corner while they're training. And Suzu's like, wait, no, I'm trustworthy. I will do whatever you say. But then Mari just rings her in as Mikata, so that he leaves Suzu to her to make sure that she's guarded. So, yeah, it's gonna be a while until they accept Suzu, or the until Suzu proves that she would really wanna, be with them and all this. I'm not that there's gonna be mistrust in every single one, but I think it's more of a Musashi and Suzu relationship kind of situation more than anything else. Like, I don't think the one in this chapter is really gonna be much of a issue. You need to be watched 24/7. So yeah. Anyways, then now they're going to more training, special training with the skill and how to use it. As we get a bit of an explanation on Maul's buff skills explained, which is, to be fair, more of a just like a reminder because it's been a while since we've seen Maul in action. So it's basically like saying that she has level 2, I believe, buff skill where she can buff herself 5 times, but buff her partner like once, while while Mikami can buff for half of that, so he can buff like 22.5% away with these skills. So yeah, they have to go this and they kind of show a bit of a demonstration of them like fighting all that. So they gotta try to combine their fighting methods with being more like a kind of more like a wrestler double team situation. So yeah, basically expect a lot of this in there or something like that. Like we even get like a lot of like break clutches and all that type of stuff. Who's me, Maul Kane? But yeah, anyways, then Maul after that explanation, Maul says that she's the strongest, guess. But then Mary says no, she's the stronger. Then Phyllis says no, well, I am the strongest. And she says, and then Suzu's like getting back, like Suzu's strong too, which comparably you're not to them. But then we have that. I cannot forget to remember her name. The little assistant that's partner in crime with Mikami. She's there, who seems to be like kind of dejected, as she's like in a corner with some scraps or something that she's been eating, and she's like, "Without Alice here, I can't comment." I guess no. It's kind of confusing to say this, but it's a bit confusing because Alice is kind of showing a little circle when we see Suzu tied up and all that, and all the other ones. So you kind of think that she is there. It's just she's not in the panel. But here it kind of seems to be implied that Alice is not even here. So is she in the room, or did she get sent to do something else, or was she supposed to get in contact with her fan club? Since I think she's the only one who actually had a fan club beforehand. But regardless, Alice is not present. So I guess that's not the remark that she was going to make to them would have worked. I'm not sure if she was going to argue that Alice is the strongest amongst them, or if she wanted to make a remark to all of them. Like, you guys do realize the only one of you who actually is the strongest in the kingdom in terms of skill is Alice, right? Or I don't feel that she could say that to her, that without her as well, but regardless, she doesn't want to comment about it for some reason. So she just sits there, probably eating some bread, because who knows what the fuck that woman does on her free time. So, yeah. We'll probably get an explanation where Alice is a bit later. Either that, or we're just gonna have her horn over the nun. But yeah, anyways, then we cut back to so then we just have them preparing for their opponent, and we just get more of an explanation of their skills and what technique they're gonna use. Well, they mostly just explain now what they could expect, because they did some research, and Maul doesn't have an equal when it comes to going around about being in terms of like buffing and all that type of skill. And in the black market, they couldn't really figure out who could it be. Like, there's no mention about some really high-level slaves being bought, like Suzu and Musashi were, or there being like a really well-known slave in the Coliseum. Remember that these two only went around in Coliseum and black markets for their for finding the next opponents for the next round, nowhere else. As then they also got in contact with some other trickery and explained that the idea is basically going to be Maul will beat everything while Mikami will be offering a support. Explaining how like the opponent will probably try to beat it by long range attacks because Maul's a close quarters combat specialist, and if you fight from long distance enough on one opponent, they would probably be able to eventually fall down, especially since they don't have a healer on their team or anything like that, someone to prevent the block. It's pretty much like a so long range would be the best way to defeat Mikami's strategy right now because no long range, no shields, no healing. They have a high chance of victory. As Mikami then as we cut back to the present, Mikami having like a bunch of little gadgets that are, I guess, permitted to be used. It's somewhere on the same way how like a sword is allowed to be used on a shield. So they have a bunch of stuff like that in his pockets, and he and Mal already, with everyone being extremely cheerful, being rooting for Mikami because you can always trust them, and where this is gonna be going. Especially want to see the giant as being all smug. Look at there, oh yeah, this is gonna be exciting. As then we have the Momo-chan saying that their opponents will be Alexandro, Brine, and Chrisana. I even kind of feel like she was doing that kind of thing with her voice. As then everyone was like, wait, what? Him? Refund? Wait, I want to put my money on something else. Oh my god, what? And like everyone was very confident that Mikami will beat them, but now they're like, oh shit. Honestly, I think like even before they even mentioned Chris Anna, they're already like, ah! And then immediately quickly all gawk to the people who are in charge of the bats and all that, as they're like someone like the guy who's I think the most successful from voting on Mikami, from putting his money on Mikami is even like someone quickly, I need a change. Someone quickly change my bat because like they had no idea who they were fighting against. And Alexandro, well, instead of being a giant muscle tuned man that makes Escanor look skinny in comparison. Immediately, as soon as the match begins, goes for a strike, and Molly is immediately like, oh shit, this is an actual opponent. As he goes to clash with her, and he actually does, sends her pretty far back, but she is able to handle that and continue fighting. As we find out that Alexandra isn't, there's why no one knew about, or Alexandra wasn't on the debate, on the option list, or no one mentioned it beforehand, is because Alexandra is actually a noble and a former general in the military. So there's like no reason for him to be there, but no, he's here as a slave, so everyone is kind of like, oh shit. And Alexandra and Maul clash. It's also said that Alexandra is a level 3 buff skill, so he's pretty much considered the strongest, and I think the next chapter even states that he is the strongest, fighter. And yeah, he and Maul clash a bit, and he says that he came to this Coliseum becoming a slave to fight her. So we get more explanation in the next chapter, but basically he set his targets on them because they'll be useful in the military. Which is fine, the fact that he's used as the formal general, but maybe it's like a disgraced thing type of situation going on here, but whatever. So we just have them fighting a bit, and it's very clear that Maul is in a huge disadvantage. Because not just that, the fact that Alessandro is also a stronger fighter because of his buffs, but also the fact that every damage that Maul inflicts on him gets healed by Chris Anna, which I guess we should go into Chris Anna now, who is a MILF. Like, she's a giant tit nun. Like, she is quite literally the most fan servicey girl that we've had so far of all the characters whose abilities are healing and a shield ability. As Mikami goes to like knock her out to stop her from healing it because he actually is able to use her power because he can't use Alexandra's power because he had like no animosity towards him. He didn't want to fight him. Well, he doesn't have any chance to fight him, and he also didn't strike at him. So there's no reason for him to, for Mikami to get his buff skills. So right now Mikami is going to have the non, so he could prevent her from healing it, but the non uses her shield skill to protect herself as Mikami is slamming on her shield, which isn't being affected at all. Although noteworthy is that Chris Anna isn't really much of a fighter, or seems to be very meek and kind of obedient as a character because she's like like even though Mikami's just punching her shield in front of her, she's like reacting to every single hit. Even though the shield itself is not even bunging, which is even something Mikami points out. Why is it even when reacting? I have a 50 levels buff on me. I have a 5 level buff on me. Why is it not doing a single thing against her at all? So he's a bit confused on that side, but he then does his a little analysis of the situation going on here because Chris Anna is not fighting back against him. As Mikami is like, alright, Alexandro clearly has a higher level skill than Mel has, and she so Mel is doing less damage to him because Chris just, or Anna, whatever, just heals his wounds better, and because Mel inflicts damage on Alexandra, while Alexandra inflicts damage on Mel, but Alexandra has higher buff than Mel does, so he does more damage to her, and she gets healed less because Mikami isn't able to use the full power of Chris's ability, while Chris uses the full power of her ability, so she's able to heal more wounds than Alexandra. So it's like, if let's say the two fight and the two clash, they both Mel is here while Alexandra is here, and with the healing they're not able to keep up. So it's like one of those that fight. So in this fight, in a long drawn out fight, Alexandra and Chris have the advantage because they can't really keep the because they can't really because Mel cannot give enough strike to overpower Alexandro, and Mikami can't keep up with Chris, and he can't even even if they and he can't break through the barriers that Chris set up because Chris has a very high defensive skill, probably because he's a coward. So they can't really, so he can't really do more. So he's not able to break in. At least like Mayama be a double Alexandra and Mel, 2 versus 1, 2 versus 1, because he cannot access, and without him being able to access or do anything, he also cannot copy Alexandra's level 3 skill to increase Mel's attack to buff Mel's attack power into a 12 times the regular strength to be able to outpower his level, to outpower Alexandra. So yeah, that's good, but Become basically realized and basically clicked in place why people had such reactions once as soon as Alexandra's name was said. They were mean like, oh shit, they have to put their money on Alexandra immediately. So yeah, they're in trouble. So yeah, they're in trouble right now, and Mikami realizes that really quickly. And he has like there's a bit of a comic relief joke with him being on the like, yeah, we are screwed. Which to be fair, it's like more of an initial reaction by Mikami, so he'll probably be able to figure out a way to beat them, especially with how meek Chris actually looks like. She really doesn't come off like she could last long in a high pressure situation. So maybe he's gonna either force Alexandra's hand to a point he will go up against him, or he's going to have to disable Chris, which may not be that difficult of an action to do. It just depends on how much of a psychological warfare he wants to do on Chris. So yeah, that's the end of the chapter, and I'm really excited to see how this fight's gonna play out. It's a very nice, a very nice brawl, if you get my drift. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you like these my thoughts on these chapters. I hope you leave your thoughts on the chapters in the comments below, alongside the chapters you've read this week, if you were even able to read any chapters this week, any new chapters this week. So yeah, anyways, I hope you leave a like, subscribe to this channel for more videos in the future. And with that said, I cannot wait to see all of you mortals next time. Goodbye.